Hi, I'm Chris Bullock. My wife Carolyn and I are owners of the Wandering Bull LLC. We're one of the country's largest Native American craft suppliers. We sell a wide range of products, including craft materials, contemporary art, and antiques. My parents started the business in 1969 when we were kids, running around at powwows. And more than 50 years later, our family business is still going strong. Today we're going to talk about Catlinite pipe carving. We sell Catlinite Block, comes out of the quarry in Minnesota. Real Catlinite, it's a stone, it's fairly soft. We get it in a variety of lengths and heights. It's all roughly the 1.5 to 2 inches thick. It is quarried by a family. For us, I'm going to cut the block and drill the block. So it'll give you an idea of how to work with the material. It is fragile. Too much heat, the block is going to crack on you. If you're working it too hard with the drill, it's also going to crack. So you got to go slow and be precise. So there's a block, and the end result is you want to end up with a nice shiny elbow. This is an elbow pipe, comes from the pipestone shrine, and the stem is inserted here, and this is the bowl. It's covered with beeswax, gives it a nice shiny patina. This is unwaxed. So I've drawn on this block. That's roughly what we're going to cut out. And this is a 2 by 3 inch block, relatively small. You don't need a huge block to carve a nice little tiny pipe. This little pipe's unfinished. It is carved, but it would roughly still fit within that size. This is what they refer to as a T-bowl. You know, it's got the extension here, so it is a T. And it's got a square top. So to start, I get a little vise set up. I'm going to slide my block in. I'm going to want to cut it down roughly at that line. I'm going to just check my work, and I'm about halfway there. You certainly do want to check your block before you start to work it. We check them before we send them out and make sure they're not split. They'll all come with a corner chipped here or there. And if we say it's 3 inches, sometimes it's 2 3/4 of an inch, because they're not perfectly square. They don't come out of a factory. So they do vary. And as I said, you get a couple of chips here or there, but you want to make sure there's no cracks that run vertical. Vertical, I mean this direction. It's a sedimentary stone, so as that stone forms, there's different layers in here, and so sometimes it will just split right along the grain. So you want to be careful and look at your block, inspect it before you start working it. And I'm using a household wood saw. Granted, the saw is not going to be great afterwards, but it still works. The block is soft enough where this saw will basically do what we need to do. You can also use a wet saw to cut it. That wet saw is a spinning diamond tipped blade, and it has water basically that blade picks up in the pan and keeps the dust down as well. Got my rough shape. So, Catlinite's expensive. It's expensive to ship. Don't toss that out. You could carve something out of it if you're creative. So, we're going to now work on drilling this guy. I have a variety of drill bits in front of me. We're going to use the small one first. And start a pilot hole. I basically want to drill down to the level here. I'm going to come straight across with this one, and I want to drill down to about there. So that's the maximum depth I want to go. So I'm going to mark my drill bit. And roughly end up no deeper than that. So I'm going to find the center roughly. Now I want to go slow. Don't want to apply too much pressure down. I don't want to heat the block up. Got one little hole. And I'm almost to the depth I want. I wanted to clean the debris out of that. And I'm almost to the depth. And about another 1/4 of an inch to go. So I got my pilot hole. So now let's drill in from the for the stem. I basically want to be to there. So by drilling a smaller hole, the pilot hole first, it allows us to one, get a nice start, and then we can add a larger drill bit, larger diameter bit. Once again, I want to be in the center of this square that I have cut. Let's dump some debris out. I roughly want to be about there from my marking. We should be real close. I would think that we'll be there. Let's believe we're through. This point in time is not to breathe in, but we'll breathe out. So I have successfully drilled both ways. That's why you don't want to breathe that in. So the bowl, obviously, you want a larger hole than what we have drilled. And for the stem, you want a little larger hole. So I'm going to switch to another drill bit. That fits a little larger. We'll jump into this for the top for the bowl. If I went right to the largest drill that I want that diameter of the hole to be, the block would definitely split from being too hot. So it's an exercise in patience. My hole's a little bigger. I'm going to now put the 3/8 hole on the top and just drill. I want my pipe stem to go, half an inch into that at the most. So I'll drill down for that. I'm happy with that. Now I'm going to just drill that a little bigger in diameter. This diameter is a little fatter than this, and it probably goes about halfway down the neck or the top of that elbow. So I'm going to mark the drill bit so I don't get carried away. So, looks pretty good. So the next step would be to carve it. I think that's what we're going to do in video number 2 for catlinite carving. So basically, cut it with a wood saw, used a drill bit, did a pilot hole from the top, from the stem down, from the bowl in, then expanded it to another size drill bit, and then so basically I used 3 different drill bits to drill the bowl. You want to do it slow, you don't want to heat it up, you don't want to apply too much pressure drilling. That's when your pipe's going to crack. So at this point, you would be left to carving it. Rounding the corners. You saw how easy it was to cut it with the saw. I got a variety of files here in front of me. And basically, you're just going to, work that edge. Do have another saw. Get a little hacksaw that would work as well. Just to, you want it round. Work that corner down. You get the general idea. And then in the end result, you're going to sand it, make it nice and smooth to the point where you get to this. It's fairly smooth, it's been sanded. I get a variety of sandpapers. You want to work from that coarse grit down to the fine. So, this has a nice, wonderful shine to it. So let's do that to this pipe. So, we're going to use beeswax. And the beeswax is what we use for beading. I'm going to basically, I've melted some in this dish. I'm going to heat it back up. And then I'm going to pour it onto the pipe. Don't need much. So I got some wax on the pipe. Take my torch, heat that guy up a little bit. I was instructed not to burn the house down doing this. Don't need much heat, just enough to make that beeswax melt. Move it around a little bit. Let that guy cool. So, basically, started out the same color before I waxed it. A little bit of beeswax, didn't take much. You could even rub the beeswax on first, then heat it up with the torch and get some nice results. When that guy cools, give it a nice polish. You want to be respectful of the pipe that you make. It is important. Always put it away, protect it, treat it with respect. It's not a toy. We started out with a square block. We cut it down. We drilled some holes. This one was already finished. We just applied the wax. So you're going to work this down, work it with the saw, cut the corners on the circle, sand it down, and you'll end up with a nice fine project. And that's Catlinite pipe carving. Thanks for watching our videos. You can order supplies and learn more about Native American crafts by visiting our website, wanderingbowl.com. On our Facebook and Instagram pages, you'll find weekly specials, a schedule of upcoming events, and interesting historical facts about Native American culture. We not only sell supplies, we use them ourselves, as you've seen in these videos. And if you ever need help with an order or a project, you can always give us a call at 1-800-430-2855. We'd love to hear from you.